POV. You did everything right, and somehow, normal life still feels unaffordable. You went to school, you got the job, you paid your bills, you avoided the luxury car, you did not live like an influencer. You tried to be responsible, and yet, every month still feels like you are one bill away from starting over. That does not always mean you failed. Sometimes it means the old success formula became more expensive than the life it promised. For years, people were told the deal was simple. Work hard, get educated, earn a stable income, pay your bills on time, and eventually, life would start to feel easier. But for millions of people, that deal no longer feels true. The income arrives, then rent takes its share. Groceries take theirs, insurance takes theirs, student loans take theirs. The car takes its share, utilities take theirs, credit cards take theirs, and by the time the responsible life has been paid for, there is almost nothing left to build a free one. That is what happens to Theo. He is not reckless. He is not lazy. He is not living above everyone else. He is a 32-year-old man who did what he was told would work. And now he is sitting at his kitchen table, wondering why ordinary life still feels like pressure. Because the real trap is not only spending too much. The real trap is believing you did something wrong when the math of normal life quietly changed.
Theo grew up hearing the old deal from everyone. Get good grades, go to college. Get a stable job, pay your bills, save what you can. Do not make stupid choices. And for a long time, that sounded fair. Not easy, but fair. Theo was not asking for a mansion. He was not asking for a private jet. He was not asking for a life where money never mattered. He just wanted the version of adulthood that used to sound normal. A clean apartment, reliable transportation, food in the fridge, a little money invested each month, a small emergency fund, maybe one vacation a year without guilt, maybe a future where he could stop calculating every decision like it was a threat. So he followed the script. He studied. He graduated. He took the job. He built his resume. He showed up early. He paid his bills on time. He did not buy the most expensive car. He did not fill his closet with designer clothes. He did not spend every weekend traveling for content. From the outside, Theo looked like the kind of person who should be fine. That is what made the pressure so confusing. Because when someone makes obvious mistakes, the story is easy. But when someone does most things right and still feels trapped, the story becomes harder to explain and harder to admit. The month begins the way every month begins. Theo gets paid on Friday. For about 12 minutes, he feels calm. Then the money starts leaving. Rent clears first, then the car payment, then insurance, then utilities, then the student loan, then the credit card minimum, then groceries, then gas, then a medical bill he forgot was still on autopay, then one small birthday gift, because life does not stop being human just because the budget is tight. By Monday morning, Theo has technically done everything right. Nothing is late, nothing is unpaid, no one is calling him, no disaster has happened. And still, the number left in the account feels too small for the rest of the month. This is the part that quietly breaks people. The budget does not look dramatic. It looks normal. And that is the problem. Normal became expensive. Theo opens his banking app and stares at the remaining balance. He is not broke in the dramatic movie version of broke. He has a job. He has a roof. He has food. He has a phone. He has transportation. But he does not feel safe. Because there is a difference between surviving the month and building a life. And Theo is starting to realize he has been doing the first one while pretending it was the second. Theo finally asks the question he has been avoiding. What if I am not bad with money? What if the system I was taught to trust is missing half the equation? So he writes down two versions of his life. The old deal: work hard, get a job, pay your bills, build a life. Then he writes the version he is actually living: work hard, get a job, pay your bills, still feel behind. That is the new reality test. If your income goes up, but every essential cost rises with it, you are not building freedom. You are just running on a faster treadmill. If you pay every bill on time, but have no margin afterward, you are not financially secure. You are financially obedient. If you look responsible from the outside, but cannot handle one normal surprise without debt, then the problem is not only discipline, it is margin. Theo circles that word: margin. The space between what life costs and what life leaves you. And his margin is almost gone. Not because he bought too many luxury things, because the basic version of adulthood now takes more than he expected. The moment that finally gets to Theo is not rent. Rent is painful, but predictable. It is not the car payment. He already knows that number. It is not even the credit card balance. He has learned to emotionally avoid that one. The moment happens at the grocery store. He buys normal things: eggs, chicken, rice, vegetables, coffee, toothpaste, laundry detergent. Nothing exciting. Nothing that would make a good Instagram story. The cashier scans each item, and Theo watches the total climb like it is trying to prove a point. $72, $94, $128, $163, $187.42. Theo inserts his card and says nothing. But inside, something feels unfair. Because this was not a luxury decision. This was not a vacation. This was not a watch. This was not a new phone. This was food, soap, and the right to keep functioning. He carries the bags to his car and feels embarrassed by how angry he is. Not angry at the cashier. Not angry at the store. Angry because he did what he was supposed to do, and even the basic things now feel like they are testing him. That is when he realizes something. The new status symbol is not a luxury car. The new status symbol is buying normal groceries without checking your account afterward. For years, Theo believed responsibility would eventually create peace. But lately, responsibility feels like a checklist that never ends. Pay rent, pay insurance, pay debt, buy groceries, keep the car running, keep the phone on, keep the job. Keep smiling when someone says, "At least you have a good income." And that sentence bothers him more than he expects. Because it sounds true. And it is true. But it is not the whole truth. A good income does not automatically create a good financial life if the cost of being normal keeps rising faster than your ability to breathe. Theo starts noticing how many people are quietly living the same contradiction. Coworkers making decent money, but delaying dental work. Friends with good jobs putting groceries on credit cards. People with degrees moving back home. Couples earning more than their parents ever did, but feeling further away from buying a house. Nobody wants to sound ungrateful, so they call it stress. They call it a busy season. They call it just how life is now. But underneath those words is something heavier. The shame of doing what you were told to do and still feeling behind. Theo feels that shame too. He looks at his bank account and starts searching for moral failure. Maybe I am careless. Maybe I am weak. Maybe everyone else is handling this better. Maybe I missed the lesson everyone else learned. But then he looks more honestly at the numbers, and the numbers tell a different story. He does have habits to fix, but habits are not the whole story. There is a difference between a spending problem
and a margin problem. And Theo's margin problem is bigger. Because you can cancel subscriptions and still be crushed by rent. You can cook at home and still watch groceries get more expensive. You can avoid luxury spending and still have your paycheck swallowed by insurance, debt, transportation, healthcare, and basic bills. You can be responsible and still be tired. That is the part nobody wants to admit. Sometimes the cage is not built from bad choices. Sometimes the cage is built from normal costs. Theo opens a blank document and writes one sentence at the top. What does normal actually cost? Then he lists the things nobody calls luxury: housing, food, insurance, transportation, debt payments, healthcare, utilities, phone, work clothes, family support for people who are carrying more than themselves, time. That last one surprises him. Time. Because when money gets tight, time gets expensive too. Cooking every meal takes time. Searching for cheaper options takes time. Driving farther to save money takes time. Working extra hours takes time. Fixing problems yourself takes time. Comparing prices takes time. Thinking about money all day takes time. Theo realizes his life is not only expensive in dollars, it is expensive in mental space. Every purchase becomes a calculation. Every bill becomes a reminder. Every small surprise becomes a threat. And the strangest part is that none of this looks dramatic from the outside. It just looks like adulthood. That is why the pressure is so hard to explain. Because the most exhausting version of broke does not always look like failure. Sometimes it looks like a normal person, with a normal job, trying to afford a normal life that stopped being normal. Theo does not fix his life by pretending the old deal still works. He stops asking, "What should this cost?" and starts asking, "What does it actually cost now?" That one shift changes everything. He creates a reset around reality. Rule 1. Stop budgeting from optimism. No more assuming next month will be cheaper just because he wants it to be. Groceries get a real number. Gas gets a real number. Insurance gets a real number. Medical costs get a real number. The budget stops being a wish and becomes a map. Rule 2. Separate essential from emotional spending. Some spending keeps life functioning. Some spending buys relief from the stress of functioning. Theo does not shame himself for wanting relief, but he stops letting relief quietly steal the money that could create freedom. Rule 3. Build the margin first. Before upgrades, before lifestyle repair, before trying to look okay. A small automatic transfer moves into savings the day income arrives. Not because the amount is huge, because the identity matters. He is no longer waiting for money to be left over. He is creating the leftover first. Rule 4. Increase options, not just income. Theo starts looking for skills that can raise his value, but also for ways to reduce dependence. A better job helps. A side income helps. A smaller fixed cost helps. A stronger network helps. A cash buffer helps. Freedom is not one big move. It is the slow process of needing fewer things to go perfectly. The next few months do not look inspiring. Theo does not suddenly become rich. He does not move into a luxury apartment. He does not buy a course and transform his life in 30 days. He makes boring changes. He tracks the real cost of groceries for 4 weeks. He calls insurance companies and compares rates. He renegotiates one bill. He sells a few things he kept pretending he needed. He stops using the credit card as emotional breathing room. He applies for roles before he hates his current job, not after. He builds one skill that could make him more valuable in the next 12 months. He starts a small emergency fund again. At first, it feels too small to matter. $100, 200, 500. The number does not change his life overnight, but it changes how his life feels. A small surprise comes up, and for the first time in months, Theo does not feel like the month is ruined. That is when he understands what he was really building. Not wealth yet. Breathing room. And breathing room is the first form of freedom most people actually feel.
The real lesson is not that personal responsibility does not matter. It matters. Habits matter. Discipline matters. Budgeting matters. Avoiding stupid debt matters. But responsibility alone is not enough if it only means paying everyone else first and hoping your life gets whatever is left. That is not freedom. That is maintenance. The goal is not to prove you are responsible by surviving another month with no margin. The goal is to build a life where normal expenses do not consume your entire future. So if you did everything right and still cannot afford life, do not use that as proof that you are broken. Use it as proof that the old formula needs an update. The new formula is not just work hard and pay bills. The new formula is protect margin, lower fixed pressure, build options, and stop confusing looking responsible with becoming free. Looking responsible asks, did I pay the bills? Becoming free asks, did I keep any margin? Because a life with no margin will always feel one bill away from panic, even if you did everything right. So if this is your POV, if you went to school, got the job, paid the bills, avoided the stupid choices, and still feel like normal life is too expensive, remember this: you are not crazy, and you are not alone. But you do need a new system. Track the real cost of normal. Stop budgeting from hope. Protect margin before lifestyle touches it. Lower the fixed pressure wherever you can. Build options before you desperately need them. And stop measuring your life only by whether the bills got paid. Because paying the bills means you survived the month. Keeping margin means you are building a future. Subscribe to Theo Finance for more cinematic personal finance stories about money psychology, lifestyle pressure, income, and financial freedom. Comment normal life below if you want part 2, where Theo rebuilds his money system around the real cost of being an adult today. Because sometimes, the most frustrating version of broke is not failing at life. It is doing everything right and realizing the life you were promised now costs more than the paycheck you were told to chase.